Hey, it's Midnight Raven, and it's that time again. It's a time for another true crime with Raven, and today we're doing the case of the Invisible Man. So this is a two-part video, as this mystery of a man that disappeared needs a lot of details and a lot of time to go through. So I've dedicated two videos to that. Part one is going to give you an outline of what happened. And then part two, we're going to look at the details of the case and the evidence and get a whole picture. This is The Invisible Man. This is True Crime with Raven. Let's get into the video. So, it had only been 25 days since Brian Schaefer, 27, had buried his beloved mother, Renee, when he decided to go on a bar crawl with an old friend to have basically a night out. So his friends Clint and Floris were family friends, and they were helping him cope with the fact that he'd lost his mother. So his friends believed that he'd been coping well with the bereavement. Obviously, losing your mother does hit hard, but after a punishing period of revision in his second year at the Ohio State University, he had decided to start the celebrations of spring break with a few drinks. Brian was desperate to fly out on Monday. He was going on a break with his girlfriend. Sounded great, but Friday night would be the night they would let off some steam by going drinking. And then obviously on Monday they would jet off on holiday. What could go wrong? So he started the evening with a nice steak dinner. Like I said, what more could go wrong? A steak dinner with friends. He had it with his family before meeting Clint at the Ugly Tuna Saloon. Brilliant name for a saloon. At around 9 p.m. for the start of their pub crawl. According to Clint, they ordered spirits at every bar they visited, making a whole night of it. After midnight, they ran into another friend of his called Meredith, and they drove them back to the Ugly Tuna Saloon. So they'd gone from pub to pub to pub and then ended up back at the Ugly Tuna for a final round of drinks before calling it a night. CCTV clearly shows the trio travelling up an escalator towards the bar. The bar was up an escalator and in a building. They arrived at the bar's entrance at around 1:15 a.m. Obviously, they had already been to the bar, gone out drinking to a couple of other bars, and been driven back to finish the night at this bar. So at 1:15 a.m., they entered the bar. And it also confirms that Brian was out front of the bar at around 1:55 a.m. talking briefly to two women. So at that point in time, all his movements between pub to pub to pub and then back to the tuna were documented either by CCTV or by his friends. The final images were of him saying goodbye and turning towards the bar. At 2 a.m., it was last orders, and Clint and Meredith could not find Brian. There was no answer on his phone, and after checking the bathroom, they headed outside, assuming he had already left the building or had already gone home. So, they checked the bathroom and left. They assumed he'd gone back to his apartment and still hadn't heard from him the next day. 6 blocks away was how far his apartment was. So it was only a short walk between the bar and his apartment, and somehow between the bar and his apartment, he disappeared into thin air. So Brian was not among the crowd that left at the end of the night, but his friends were seen leaving on the CCTV. He had completely vanished into thin air. By Sunday morning, his girlfriend was concerned and was worried that he wasn't picking up his phone and no one had seen him since that night. Question would be, had he maybe gone home? Unfortunately, with the two girls that he was seen talking with outside the club, had he maybe headed back to theirs for a drink or some promiscuous activity? But he failed to check in for their flight on Monday, never arrived at the airport, didn't call his girlfriend, didn't call his friends, didn't call anybody, and no one had seen him. So when he missed the flight on Monday, his girlfriend decided the next port of call after calling him, trying to get hold of him, contacting his friends, was to call the police and register him missing. So that is part one. So far what we know is that Brian went to a club with his friends, went on a pub crawl, was meant to be flying out on Monday on holiday with his girlfriend. He was seen at the pub till around 1:55 a.m. and then he basically disappeared. No CCTV catches him leaving the bar. And what happened to him right now as I'm filming this remains a mystery. So if you want to see part two so we can delve into the depths of the information and find out just what happened to Brian, and if you want to like and subscribe and give it a big thumbs up, that would be amazing too. If you want to support the channel, remember PayPal, a super chat or a membership, and you get behind the scenes stuff and loads of other goodies. So if you want to see more True Crime with Raven, click that notification bell for part 2 coming tomorrow. Like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon for another video. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye guys.